What's up, Tackle Warehouse fans? It's day one of ICAST. We got all kinds of coverage happening today. So make sure you head over to the website. You want to check out all the new product videos we got going on. We got live interviews. We got videos going on at the show for the next 3 days. Make sure you check out all the new baits. There's hundreds of products coming out over the next few days. So this is the first official ICAST What's New TW. So we got a bunch of stuff. The first one we're gonna go over, we got a bunch of new stuff from Pradco. The first one we got is new Yum Do All Dinger Kit. This is an awesome kit. I mean, it's got a tackle box included. There's a bunch of stuff inside here. We got 4-inch dingers, 5-inch dingers, swimming dingers. It comes with hooks in here, weights, shaky heads. There's a wacky tool in here, wacky rings. If you're looking for a kit, you just want to pick something up, head out to the lake or the pond or something like that and just go fishing, this is where it's at. I mean, we all know stick baits catch fish on every body of water. It's no secret. This is just something easy to pick up. You can go out and fish all day and you don't have to worry about nothing. Everything you need is right here in this box. Also a great kit to get for kids that are getting into fishing. Not a lot of stuff in there to confuse them, you know, just a few different rigging options. Just, you know, awesome kit, always gonna catch fish on the old Yum Dinger. Next thing we got from Booyah. So this is another cool kit that just came out. We got the new Booyah Elite Hardbait 3-pack. So this new hardbait kit, you know, got everything you need to cover pretty much every section of the water column. We got a popper, fish from top water. We got a square bill. You can crank up shallow, over cover and things like that. Then you got your lipless crankbait. You can do so many different things with a lipless crankbait. You can steady retrieve it, yo-yo it on the bottom. So you can kind of get, you know, cover everything you need. And with this kit that Booyah's putting out there, you're actually saving a little bit of money when you buy the kit. So you're saving a few bucks instead of buying each individual bait sold separately. And these are 3 of their top selling baits. So you're getting 3 of the best baits all in one package. Next thing we got from Booyah. This is what I'm actually super stoked about. This is the new Booyah Mobster Swimjig. As you can see, pretty unique swim jig. I've seen this thing, it's been popping up on some of those top bait galleries across a lot of the professional tournaments out there the last few months. Been waiting to get our hands on it. We finally got them in stock to show you guys. So with this swim jig, as you can see, it's a pretty unique head design. Really, you know, sharp angle, really, it's got a pointed head shape and that vertical line tie. It's got this heavy weed guard. This thing just pierces and gets right through grass and cover. It hardly ever gets snagged. Just exactly what you want in a swim jig to cover, you know, cover water. It's got a nice barbed keeper on there, or double barbed keeper, excuse me, and then that heavy wire hook. So throw this on 20, 25 pound fluorocarbon, 50, 65 pound braid, no problem. They've got a bunch of awesome colors in this swim jig too, which I'm pretty pumped about. Like this, you know, this chartreuse white with the orange head, kind of like some of those Jason Christie spinnerbaits. But again, I believe there's about 12 or 14 different colors. Some colors that you don't see in a lot of other swim jigs out there. Just a really cool jig. Make sure to check out that Mobster from Booyah. From Heddon Baits. So Heddon has got their new Sonar blade bait. So sweet little blade bait. We know the fall bite is gonna be here anytime, few months down the road. It's gonna be here before you know it. You're gonna need those blade baits. Vertical jigging techniques are gonna be red hot in those fall and winter months. This is gonna be one you wanna check out. Again, with these, they've got a bunch of really cool colors in this series as well. Everything you want in a blade bait, got the multiple line ties on top, adjust that vibration. Sticky, sharp hooks, and they have the separated shank on there, so you can spin them off and you can change out hooks if you want to customize it in any kind of way like that. So cool little blade bait from Heddon. And last one from Pradco, from Bobby Garland. So this is a new Bobby Garland Slab Hunter Finesse swim bait. So the Bobby Garland crappie jig, crappie baits have been out for a long time. We finally brought some of them into Tackle Warehouse. The Slab Hunter's been out for a long time, but this new itty bitty version is a new offering. I believe it's just 1 inch in the corner. Tiny little swim bait. So, you know, since it's called a Slab Hunter, obviously it's made for crappie fishing, but don't forget to use these kinds of things on like your float and fly rigs or just finesse fishing for bass. There's been times locally where tiny little 2-inch swim baits have gotten huge bites around here at some of the bass lakes. But me and some of the guys in the office, we can't wait for next springtime to use these on some crappie. If you guys do some crappie fishing on the side and you need to pick up a couple, you know, some baits, definitely gonna wanna check out this new itty bitty Slab Hunter from Bobby Garland. All right, so from Geecrack. So we got a bunch of stuff from Geecrack. The first one is gonna be their new Revival Shad Worm. This is a really cool bait. There's a tons of different things you can do with it. We got it in multiple sizes, bunch of cool colors. And like all the Geecrack baits, it's made out of that SAF material. So it's got a lot of scent to it. It's got a lot of salt. So when fish bite it, they do not let go. So first thing you think of when you see this, this Revival Shad, it's gonna be deadly on a drop shot. I love these little pintail baits, especially in the wintertime on a drop shot. Super subtle, you know, just you can barely work them along and they get that really, really subtle action. It does have a hook pocket right here on the back. So it'll hide a hook point in there really nice. So you can rig this up on like an EWG style hook if you want to fish it like a traditional soft jerk bait. But these are also going to be really good if you just want to fish them on a jig head or even like an underspin in the wintertime when you need to really tone down that action. You don't want that big wide kick, want something more subtle. That's going to be a great one for that. The next two things we got from Geecrack. These ones, this is the new Ripper stick bait and the Kemushi stick bait. So totally unique. You know, there's a lot of styles of baits like this that are coming out of Japan that are really, really popular. And it's just giving you a different look in kind of that weightless soft stick bait presentation. So we know when the bite stuff, everyone's going down the bank with like a 5-inch stick worm. These are 3.8 inches and they're giving you just a little bit different look than all the other stick baits out there on the market. And because they're made out of that SAF material and they're super heavily salted, these baits actually weigh about a ½ ounce. So you can cast these things and bomb them and get them way away from the boat, especially if you got really spooky fish, really clear water. And these things got a perfectly horizontal sink rate, and that little tail on there is just going to give you a little bit different look. With the Kemushi, obviously it's got all that skirting material in there, so way different look than all the other stick baits out on the market. And since they're so dense and so heavy, they're going to get down there pretty deep and relatively quickly. So you can fish a little bit deeper water than you would with your traditional weightless stick worm. Just some really cool baits. Geecrack's always got some really cool stuff. You're definitely going to want to add these to the arsenal. All right, from Cumberland Pro Lures. So we got a bunch of stuff from Cumberland Pro Lures. The first two is their new Hydro Series spinnerbaits. So right out the gate here, you can see super highly detailed head design. These are built on a 0.035 wire frame, so they got nice flex to them, but they're not super weak, so they're not going to break on you or get bent out and and break at the head after just a couple of fish. These are going to hold up, but it's got that flex in there, so you're going to get a lot of vibration out of the blades. And with all these Cumberland baits, they got the long shank, super sharp hook on there, ball bearing swivels, premium blades. They got a bunch of cool color combinations like this kind of coleslaw color with the red blade, sexy shad colors, but they got a bunch of different color combinations. Just a really good spinnerbait from Cumberland Pro Lures. And adding to that, we got their new Insomniac series. So these are going to be geared towards kind of like your nighttime fishing and then also that dirty water fishing. Super bright and bold colors. There's purples, reds, white, black. This one's built on a little bit sturdier frame, and that's to accommodate that big Colorado blade on there. So this thing's going to thump and produce a lot of vibration. So if you're out there night fishing right now, now's the time to do it while you can. Summertime, be out there on those full moons. And if you're looking for a good nighttime spinnerbait, that Insomniac's going to be one to check out. They've got a couple new jigs too. So these two new jigs, they both feature a 5/0 Gamakatsu hooks on there, so a premium hook. So we got their flipping jig, and then we got their True Track swim jig. On the hookup flipping jig, it's got that flat horizontal line tie and kind of that scoop rounded head shape on there. So this thing's gonna come up and over wood really, really well. So you can flip it into dense cover, get it out of there. Really stout weed guard on there, so great flipping jig. On their True Track swim jig, so got that really nice balanced head design. As you can see, the line tie is down at a little bit steeper of an angle. So this is about a 30-degree line tie and it's vertical. So this one is just gonna work its way right through that vegetation, exactly what you want in a swim jig. Got that stout hook on there so you can really hammer on fish, get them out of cover, and fish in those places that other swim jigs can't get to. The last jig they got is their new Rock Hound. So they've taken one of their jig heads, their existing jig heads that they already sell, and they're hand tying this bucktail living rubber combination skirt on there. So it's really cool, especially up north. We know that that little hair jig bite is deadly on those smallmouth, especially in clear water. So if you fish any lake that's got really clear water, and these little hair jigs are deadly. They get that really lifelike swimming action. This one's really cool. It's got a nice double wire weed guard on there. You can flex that weed guard around and kind of tune it exactly how you want it. Bunch of really cool colors on these as well. Just check out all this new stuff from Cumberland Pro Lures. All right, we're gonna get into some swim baits. So bunch of cool swim baits. I love throwing the big glide baits. I know a lot of people do too. We got a new one from G-Ratt. So G-Ratt Baits is coming out with the new Pop-Up Pete. So if you're familiar with G-Ratt Baits, the Sneaky Pete's been out for a few years now, and it's a phenomenal glide bait. I believe it's only 7.5 or 8 inches. Now they've got a 10-inch version of that same bait. So all the great same features that were in the Sneaky Pete. So really hydrodynamic profile. So this bait doesn't really pull like some of the other glide baits on the market. It swims through the water super easy. It's got a really nice kicking action, and it's on the clear versions, you can see all the weighting that's down in the bottom of this thing to keep it weighted and balanced correctly. So you can fish this thing at really, really high speeds. A lot of glide baits will blow out and roll and get stuck when you try to fish them at high speeds. This one, you can burn your reel as fast as you want, which is hard to do with some of the big 10-inch glides on the market. So you can burn it, you can slow glide it, you can jerk it, it'll get real erratic, it do just about anything you want. They've got a bunch of new awesome colors as well. So if you're a fan of that Sneaky Pete and you've wanted a bigger version, they're finally giving it to us. I'm super stoked about this bait. Some of the other features on there, you know, premium hooks, heavy duty split rings. It's got that rotating hook hanger as well. So when you get fish hooked up, you know, you got the fish of a lifetime on when you're fishing 10-inch baits, and that swiveling line tie is gonna help just reduce that twist, and the fish can't twist and leverage a bait and pop the hooks out and get free. So really cool glide bait. We're stoked that, you know, they got a new 10-inch version of the Sneaky Pete, the Pop-Up Pete. Another big swim bait that's coming out. This is from Scottsboro Tackle. So from Scottsboro, this is the new Fatty swim bait. So they've got a whole bunch of swim baits, and now this Fatty version is just a bit taller, wider version of one of the swim baits they already make. Now, these swim baits were developed out on the TVA system, fishing on ledges. That's where these baits really shine. What's really cool about this new Fatty swim bait is you can do so many different things with it and rig it so many different ways. So it comes sealed out of the package. The belly's sealed. It's got a solid head. You can run this on a jig head, fish it deep if you want a straight top hook, fishing on a jig head. But it's already pre-cut, so you can open up the seal on there and you can rig an owner beast hook or a big trocar hook, anything you want, a big screw lock style hook, and rig this completely with this. So a bunch of us in the office are really stoked about using these. It's hard to get big swim baits that have really good action that can hold those big EWG screw lock style hooks and get kind of that bigger swim bait into heavier cover without getting snagged up. Most of the big soft plastic swim baits are gonna come with a top hook or some kind of harness like that, and you're not gonna be able to get them into that heavy cover. This one, you can do that. It's made out of really durable plastic. I mean, this stuff is tough. It's got nice 3D eyes on there, and you're gonna be able to catch a ton of fish on this bait. And it's just really cool swim bait by Scottsboro. The last swim baits we got, so we got a couple new ones from True Bass. So the True Bass hollow body swim baits have been out for a long time. They've got a bunch of different sizes, and they're just adding to that to kind of fill some of the gaps. So if you've never used a True Bass hollow body, I highly recommend it. They are phenomenal hollow body swim baits. So they're coming out with a new 4-inch size. So they used to have a 3.5, and then they jumped up to a 4.5. Now they got a 4-inch size, really filling that, filling in the gaps there. This one's gonna be great for umbrella rigs, and then I think it's gonna be deadly in the wintertime on like an underspin or something like that. Or even if you're fishing, suspended fish on a small jig head, you can do tons of different things with these little swim baits. And then they've also got a new color coming out. This new color is called Baja Blast. So a little bit brighter, a little bit more bold color, gonna be really good in that dirty water scenario. All right, from Nishine Lure Works, we got a really exciting lure. So this one is the Albino 110F floating prop bait. So this is a super customizable bait. You can do a bunch of different things with it. This is how it comes out of the package, but there's some more accessories that come with it. We're actually gonna do a more in-depth video and give you guys kind of a more full rundown on everything that you can do with this bait. But it's a premium topwater, highly customizable. Make sure to watch out for the full in-depth video on this. All right, so got a bunch of jigs here, a bunch of jigs, terminal tackle, stuff like that from Gambler Lures. Gambler down there in Florida, those guys know how to flip, so they got a new flipping jig. This is the new Ninja Warrior flipping jig. As you can see, this is a heavy duty flipping jig. This thing's not messing around. With this head shape on here, it's kind of an elongated head shape. It almost shaped like a bullet weight, and then it's got that flat horizontal line tie on there. And with this head shape, this thing's made to just punch right through cover. So it's really hard to get a jig to punch through cover and get it in and out effectively without getting hung up. Gambler, those guys, they test different jig styles all the time, and they've come out with this new Ninja Warrior specifically made for flipping and punching through that heavy matted vegetation. So if you like to fish a jig in that heavy cover and not a Texas rig, this is the jig for you. I mean, it's got a 3X power hook. You can throw that on 80-pound braid all day and you're not gonna bend that hook out. The jig, it's got the star flash skirt like all the Gambler jigs come with, so it just gets a lot more action, real bulky profile, a lot bulkier than you would get with like your standard silicone. So if you're looking for a heavy duty jig, flipping heavy cover, that one's gonna be the way to go, that new Gambler Ninja Warrior. And if you don't want that star flash skirt, if you're into like tying your own skirts and stuff, they do sell just the jig head itself. So you can buy just the jig head, put your own skirts on there, tie your own skirts, whatever you like, customize it to your liking. All right, so from Queen Tackle, from Queen Tungsten, we got the new Switchblade Tungsten Vibrating Jig. So this has kind of been a hot secret among a lot of the pros and that none of them talk about. So this is a tungsten vibrating jig, and this is one of the secret lures of KJ Quinn. If you've been watching the Elite Series at all last year, you know that he's up in the running for Rookie of the Year. And this is one of the baits that he uses, that him and his dad, they're the owners of this company and they make this bait. And this is a sweet vibrating jig. So it's a tungsten head. And with the way this blade's connected, it's got this small wire and these tabs on the back that hold it there in place. And when this thing vibrates, those tabs clack on that head. And this is a really, really loud vibrating jig. So if you're looking for a vibrating jig that just has a ton of action, just a really loud, obnoxious rattle, you want to cause more action and more disturbance than most of the other vibrating jigs on the market, definitely going to want to check this one out. They got a bunch of cool colors, different blade colors, bunch of combinations, but really cool vibrating jig there from Queen Tungsten. Last up, we're going to wrap up with a bunch of stuff from Picasso. They've teamed up with Aaron Martins. He's been on their pro staff for a long time, and they're always coming up with new stuff, and they've got a few new offerings this year as well. So the first one is a new weedless model of the Suijin scrounger head. So the Suijin came out a few years ago, and it is a phenomenal vibrating head scrounger jig type of jig head. I've used a bunch of them. They have so many different sizes and bill shapes and things you can do to get just the right scrounger head for any style of bait. Just a phenomenal scrounger head. Now they're coming out with a weedless model. So it's got those 2 titanium prongs on there, just gonna keep grass and things like that from sticking onto that hook. So if you wanted a weedless version of that jig, now they got it for you. Next one they got is this new Hog Snatcher flipping jig. So as you can see, if it's something designed by Aaron Martins, you know that he put just, months and years and so much time into thinking about how this thing should be laid out and set up. So this head shape, got a really unique shape to it as well. It got that recessed line tie, so it's tucked in there really nice. And then it's actually got 4 titanium prongs on there. So, I mean, that's a pretty stout weed guard, but it's not gonna inhibit your hook set. But the way this thing's angled, the way that head shape is angled, and with the weed guard and the line tie all tucked in there, this thing's gonna slip in and out of cover, no problem. Really heavy power hook on there. You're not gonna bend that hook out either. So just an awesome flipping jig that Aaron Martins helped design. All right, last up, a bunch of other things that Aaron Martins helped design. So if you're familiar with the Shockblade series, that is a phenomenal series of vibrating jigs. And this year, they're coming out with, I believe, 8 different models of that vibrating jig. And there's a million different options. I believe between the 8 different models, between all the colors and sizes, it's over like 200 SKUs. So if you're the type of angler that wants to go out and just wants to buy one vibrating jig and go to the lake and go fish, these are not gonna be the ones for you. But if you're a tackle junkie like most of us are, and you like to just tinker with stuff and really get something dialed in, this is something that you're gonna wanna explore. So I believe, with the 8 different models, there's different head sizes, there's different blade materials they're coming out with. So they have vibrating jigs that have this clear material is made out of like that circuit board material. And then there's also ones that have carbon fiber bills, and there's different shapes. So they have coffin bills, they have their dredger shape. They have some that are on different heads with like the tungsten football heads. They have some that are even built on their smart mouth jig heads. They have different gauge hooks. Some of them have the heavier hooks. Some of them have these O'Shaughnessy style hooks. So if you really want to go down the rabbit hole on vibrating jigs and start tinkering with stuff, Picasso's got you covered for pretty much any situation you can find out on the water. Some got weed guards on them, no weed guards. Like I said, carbon fiber blades, different shapes, different materials, so many different options, but definitely gonna want to go check out all the different vibrating jigs we just got from Picasso. It's exciting. You know, mess around with stuff and really figure out what the fish are keen in on, and you can get onto something that, you know, probably not a lot of anglers are gonna spend the time trying to figure out. All right, that's all we got for you today. Thanks for tuning in this week's episode of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. Make sure to tune into all the coverage we have going on today. There's gonna be new videos coming up every day throughout the whole week. There's tons of new products on the website. There's hundreds of new things. We're gonna be doing live interviews, product videos. So make sure to tune into all the coverage we got going on the Video Vault on tacklewarehouse.com.